Hi, this is Barbara Phillips, founder of Nurse Practitioner Business Owner. And not a week goes by that I don't receive this particular question either in my inbox, on a phone call, in a forum, or on one of my social media sites. And so I thought I'd create this short video just to go over the highlights of how it is that you can start your own business and your own practice. Now, one of the things that I did is I created a framework that I use when either for myself when I'm starting a practice, or I use it to advise other people on what they can do to start a practice. And that framework is pretty clear. It involves 7 different steps that you want to take when you start your own business or practice. So let me go through these very quickly here. The first one is the Ppf M Analysis, and the Ppf M Analysis stands for the Personal, Professional, Financial, and Market Analysis. This is the framework, if you will, or the foundation of the work that you need to do, and it should answer the question for you, should I start my own practice and should I start it right now? So when you look at the personal aspect of it, it's looking at your personal goals. It's looking at what is it that you really want to do in your life. And surprisingly enough, not everybody really understands deeply what it is they want to do. So this is where you do that work to find that out. You also want to explore what your goals are for yourself, for your family, for your lifestyle, for your finances, all of those sorts of things. What kind of personal support systems do you have in place? Because this is a time-consuming endeavor, and so you definitely need to have that support in place. You also want to think about what it is that you're going to do when it comes time to leave this business and this practice. You also need to understand why it is that you want to do this. So it's very detailed, it's very in-depth, and these are questions that you should be asking yourself. Now, when you look at the professional side of this, you need to answer some questions. First of all, are you clinically ready to be starting your own business and practice? Are your skills solid enough? Is your knowledge solid enough? Then you need to know what are the rules and regulations for your particular location. Can you have an independent practice? And if it can't be independent, what kind of rules and regulations are in place that you need to make sure that you've covered so that you can have your own practice? And I will tell you that nurse practitioners have their own practices in all 50 states, but there are different requirements in each and every state. So you need to be aware of that. You also need to be aware of what kind of professional support systems do you need to have, and what kind of professional advisors that you want to have on your team. When you look at the financial part, and this is like the second question that I get, is how much is it going to cost for you to do this? And so you're going to start off with really looking at where you are financially, what your financial resources are, and where you might be able to tap into other resources. You need to do a lot of homework here because you want to find out what can you expect to receive in payment, what is your projected overhead, and how do they balance out? There's a lot of ways to do that, but this is vital in this area. And this bit of information is also eventually going to go into your business plan. Now, when I talk about the market analysis, what I'm really talking about is the sandbox. Whose sandbox are you going to play in? Or I should say, which sandbox are you going to play in? Who else is in your sandbox? And what can you do differently and better than the other people in your sandbox? What are the needs? Where are you going to go? How are you going to do this? So a lot of questions to be looking at, but again, it should all answer that question for you should you be starting your own business and your own practice. Now, in step 2, it is about creating your business. And just like you and I are legal entities unto ourselves, your business is going to be its own legal entity. And in such, it will have its own social security number, if you will, and that's your tax ID number. So you need to create your business structure. You need to gather all these numbers together so that you can legitimize the business. And then once you have done all of that and put all those pieces into place, you want to protect it. And that's through your own liability insurance, business insurance, that sort of thing. When I look at this particular step, one of the things that I advise people in this step is collaboration, because that's such a big issue for a lot of people. Now, let me say this. I don't believe that we should have rules and regulations around collaboration, and I'll tell you why. because there isn't any flavor of a healthcare provider who doesn't collaborate with someone when it's needed in order to have good patient outcomes, excellent patient outcomes. So nurse practitioners, just like other healthcare providers, are seeking consultation when necessary. So anyway, that's just a little aside there. That's my personal feeling about that. But in this particular module, we talk a lot about collaboration and how that can work in your business and your practice. Of course, everybody's concerned about getting paid, and that's step 3. And so really, you want to explore what kind of a financial business model are you going to have? Are you going to take insurances? Are you going to do just a cash practice? And if you're going to do either one of those, how are you going to do that? How many insurances? Which insurances? What kind of cash? Do you do a retainer model type or a direct pay model? All of those kinds of things. Now, if you're doing insurances, you also have to think about collaboration. And then you also want to think about what you're going to do about billing. And of course, with billing comes before you even get to billing, you've got to make sure that you understand your coding and documentation requirements so that you can bill at the correct level of care. So that's about getting paid. Now, step 4 is after you've created all of this, you need some tools. You need some equipment in order to get your job done. And you have to be on top of the technology because that is rapidly changing. Things change every day around EMRs and patient portals and the actual hardware that you need to be able to be productive in your own practice. Step 5 is clinical practice management, and this is a little bit different. You all know how to take care of your patients. You do excellent care, but now you're looking at it from a different point of view, and you're looking at the flow of people moving through your practice, how things are done, who's interacting with them, who are you delegating different activities to, what kinds of policies and procedures do you need to have in place. Now, step 6 is the operations. This is what is critical for a lot of people, and that's really the guts of this whole thing. This is what runs the business. There's a lot of financial management policies and procedures, both for your patients and then for your business. You need to be paying attention to your taxes. You need to be working with your accountant. You need to make sure that you have all of your regulatory pieces and policies and procedures in place because, as we all know, healthcare is highly regulated. Do you understand about human resources? And who do you need on your team? How are you going to work with them? All of those kinds of things. So that's just a small part of the operations. Now, this last step really isn't the last step. It's something that has to start in the beginning. But as I said, this is not a linear process. You're taking from different buckets to do things all at the same time. But marketing is quite important. And marketing is not what you think it is. Marketing is actually everything that you do every single day to bring those patients into your practice, into your business. And marketing is so vital that it is your most important job as the business owner, because if you don't have patients coming through your front door, you are not going to have a successful practice. So these are what I call the 7 steps to starting your own practice. You need to be thinking about all of these things at any given time. By putting them into 7 steps and into 7 buckets, if you will, it helps you remember what it is that you need to do as you're moving through this entire process. So I hope that helps you. If you have any additional questions or comments or need additional help, you can contact me at www.mpbusiness.org or at nursepractitionerbusinessowner.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.